It's July 11th, 2021, and this is my new sun day. What I'm dialoguing about is what I'm feeling is I don't know what I'm doing now. It's like I'm just waiting for the next inspiration. It's just such a pregnant pause here. Let's see, what was that beginning line of what I thought might become a poem? The last of the frames are falling away. Nothing to hold, to lean against, to know. It's like we're just melting back into this primordial soup, and nothing matters right now. It's like that's another very consistent feeling. Like every time I go, I really, the thinking mind, I really should be building this part of my website out that would help me. And then there's the feeling comes in of it doesn't matter. And my thinking mind's like, why doesn't it matter? And then you go to, well, what this could mean is, the analysis. The analyzer comes in and says, well, that must mean that everything's going to change to a degree that these things really don't matter. Is it the end, as we've all been talking about to one degree or another? Is it the great cataclysm again that happens at this time? In cycles. Earlier when I was dialoguing, I had this imagery come in that it's like we're here, we're on this threshold, and this is the fork in the road, and we're starting to actually walk our path. Like we made our decision, and on the path that is expanding and staying connected to the earth, the natural world, the field of all attuned, aware consciousness, or becoming that way again, remembering that we are this, or the humans who have already lost a significant portion of their divine light spark within, and they do not choose love. They do not know what love is as a result. So they're continuing down on that path that will continue to contract and everything that they're afraid of or building stories around, from the perspective of the victim, they will experience. It will continue to encourage, more building of identity and tribe and war, basically. War amongst the factions of belief systems and fears, and the people will align more with what you fear and what you're told to believe and follow, outside of yourself. And the other expanding ones will continue to show up and adapt What I'm trying to say is both paths are challenging. They show me, and I'm seeing it all again right now, in my third eye. They're showing me they're two very different paths in the beginning here. The expanding path, we're not even really sure what's going on. It's like, I don't know, nothing makes sense. Where are we headed? What's going to happen next? Because we're still operating from past programming, conditioning, and there's no judgment here. There's just no judgment. There's just pure love and patience for us to just keep taking these steps and keep understanding, integrating, healing. We're reorienting to our natural state again. Feels new, and yet it's ancient. Regrouping. And so it would make sense that through this walking, expanding direction, choosing love, because you can feel love and you know what love is and it's alive in you. Even though there aren't many answers in an outer world framing in these structures that we were so accustomed to, this is still the way, the light, the way. And the other fork in the road with the contraction, it's not that people are being punished because they chose wrong. And there really isn't a right wrong at this level. It's a preference, to know love and be love and practice love. And remember, you're remembering who you are. And then, there's the choice that vibrates with fear, mostly unconscious fear, pain, trauma, that will continue on another loop of human pain and suffering. And because of the forgetfulness, it went so far, the forgetfulness of love, that we're both paths are creating their reality. The thing is that on the contracting path, we have other intelligences. Both paths have other intelligences, what is perceived as. And the contracting path, these are opportunistic moments for them to seize upon the further extraction of energy from human beings who are unconscious, who are continuing to sleep. They are unable to value their divine spark, unable to value love because it has not been demonstrated to them in enough cycles of life that the generational trauma perpetuates the choice of smallness, the choice of, the denial of light. So there is no judgment from some greater being and viewpoint, where we are creators ourselves. We were made to be creators. And one direction creates from fear, and the other direction creates from love, which is the way that we were designed. So it's those who are expanding, it's the great unknown, and it's walking one foot after the other, trusting, totally trusting in this journey home. My inspirations in the past have been from just sharing what I've learned, what I've been shown through the third eye body connection with this wisdom that I have to translate. It's not just this static wisdom. I have to translate it. And the translating is changing all the time because I'm changing, and I'm changing my relationship to it. I'm growing, I'm expanding. So it's not always going to look and sound, we're used to getting our knowledge as it's like static knowledge, like this is the knowledge. And knowledge is just like, a picture album. This was our knowledge, in the year 1240. This is our knowledge. This is how it was captured in 1480. And there can be a thread of light and truth that is available for us to draw upon in resonance. But at this fork in the road now, it is. Expansion is a dynamic, participatory event, one in which it almost demands the dialogue on a regular basis so that we can stay in touch with headquarters and receive, the nudges, the guidance, the inspirations, the synchronicities, to arrive in the intersections where these synchronicities can occur. I can't really say much more on the contracting side. I just have been shown that it goes back into the next cycle, and perhaps, okay. I don't even need to say the next words. They already show me, yes, it will provide opportunities and future crossroads for these beings. It doesn't mean they're doomed forever. It just means they're going to do another cycle, and it may crack them open enough that they let enough of this light in to inform them of what is actual, what is real, truth with a capital T. So I don't know, time-wise, how long, each phase of this split, into expansion or contraction. We're here in July 2021, and it just feels like a really super pivotal moment. And I keep getting through the dialogue that it is, and that we're going to share, the contracting travelers and the expanding travelers are going to be sharing reality for a time. even though we've already split. And it's, I feel the pain. I feel how difficult it will be for some. You know, it's possible when we're in this, really, we're still in the liminal space. I see a band. Okay, so imagine like a wishbone, and right when it splits, there's like a band of crossover. Like we will still share the same earth reality, or no, we will, in the spectrum, it's a spectrum, we will still be able to relate, across the aisle, so to speak, shared reality. But the expanding view recognizes, through all of the work with trauma and healing and embodying more, will recognize that, what is the truth and what is not the truth, what is real, what is not real. Maintain the vibration required to continue moving instead of the real possibility of getting sucked back into the fear. It's a delicate space, and that's why we're helping each other now. When one of us starts to slip under, we reach in and grab them and say this, reorient them. So it's all about reorientation on the expanding side. And what they're showing me here is that on the contracting side, the travelers who have chosen this contraction simply, and it's not a conscious choice. Well, maybe some, and I'm not addressing that right now. This is mostly an unconscious choice. That the people can still, at this stage in this spectrum bandwidth of the fork. Wish I could show you what my third eye. I wish I could show my third eye movies. That might be easier to translate. So what I'm seeing is that one of the contracting travelers, they could have an awakening. They're just showing me that it's still possible. And what I was trying to address before is I don't know time-wise, so, how long are we in this spectrum, this crossover? Maybe years. I don't know. But I believe that I kept getting pointed to July 2021 because this is when we're actually, feet on the path, made the choice. I am moving in this direction, right? And those who are choosing light, to move with the light, literally, actively being and expressing, embodying that light, will just, more and more just experience a different kind of reality. The others on the contracting path will get very angry at the crazy people who are seeing and experiencing more beauty, more grace, and bliss. Not that they're not going to have some dips, like I was saying earlier. There will be challenges still in this spectrum for those who have chosen the light. That might be the hardest part for some people to understand, who have always had it in their heads that this is going to be a big flash bang boom event, and then we're all transformed and changed and we live happily ever after. But everything that I'm being shown through these expanded states and through the dialogue, which is the tool for getting to these expanded states, to hear and feel and perceive this wisdom, this living wisdom, the living waters that inform us. If we are an embodiment of love, it is actually the more difficult path. It's actually more challenging, this path, because we need each other to reflect and to mirror what we're discovering. And the doubt will creep up and we'll say, oh, this didn't really happen. I'm just imagining things. So all that programming will still come back in this band. I'm getting so much data right now that I don't even know what to say first. So this is something else this is part of the reorientation. It's like you have to remember how to do this without panicking. Like, it's okay. I understand that I'm expanding and I'm adapting to more and more grace. I'm adapting to this. And I need to be compassionate towards myself as well as others. It's easier just to stay angry and bitter and, just rage and stay trapped in your rage because it gives you an identity in a tribe. That's easy to do. It's much more challenging to allow the light to reveal the fears and the traumas and the misunderstandings that one has acquired over many lifetimes. So I'm staying with this inner vision. I feel like the message that I'm being shown here is just to understand this is a very fluid, dynamic space in which every new present moment is an opportunity to engage and understand more. And okay, now we're looking at the contracting side. There are also people on this, moving in this direction, who are actually stepping on the contracting path now, who are also having doubts about whether this is really the way for them. But they fear being chastised. They fear being judged. They fear being exposed as not one of the clan, that they're involved in. And they fear being ostracized, cast out. Then who, what will I do? I'll have to, be called names that I'm one of the love and lighters or whatever they refer to, the crazy people who are, feeling bliss and joy and celebrating what they're discovering about that path. Anyway, the point is there will be people on the contracting path that that will have doubts. And the message for you is it is still possible to swim across this band of liminal space, the in-between. And you will be received by those who are on the expanding path. They will see you and they'll rejoice that you had the courage to trust in this love that is still alive within your heart. These are visions. These are, all I can do is feel it, see it, know it, and then translate it to you. And the pictures help. We're losing our frames. We're losing, even though the very powerful programming that we've experienced, not only in this life, but other simultaneous lives, it's really, really powerful, heavy stuff. And we've been sloughing it off, some of us. We've been really actively facing the fear and transcending, dissolving that fear and that clutter, that darkness within our being. And in comes more light, and then it's like, whoa, what is life like with light? This much of it too. It really is one step at a time, and reflecting with each other. And I may post this. I may make this into a YouTube video. Simply because it's more now about navigating this, and all I can do is share how I'm doing it, and what I'm finding works. What I'm finding, unlocks more within me. And I will also share the things that I find didn't work, or that, just it's a map. I'm just sharing the little, traps that I fall into. And I also share, what expands me and what continues to unlock and move me forward. Because it really is, as an older message shared, the imagery of the Panama Canal. It really is, moving from one lock that's lifted up to meet the next, level. So unlock and move forward and adapt to that and integrate that, and then lift it up. It's movement like that. I'm just trying to describe the movement of it. And that we adjust to, in this expansion direction, we adjust to the frequencies. We discover, where we can get tripped up still, where we can make mistakes, mistaking reality, is the way they described it, or I translated it once a while back. They're helping us to adapt. They're helping us to reorient, and I accepted it. That's the only difference between me and others who claim that they don't understand any of this, and they're afraid, and they may slip into the contracting path as a result of that. This is just me, and now discovering a few other travelers on the path. That's the cool thing about this, is you'll discover people. You'll just bump into them on the path and go, oh my God, I had no idea. I thought I was all alone with this. And that's another revelation is, there are many of us, I'm shown, have been shown in my mind's eye. There are many of us that came here to wake up and do this and help others, come along too, just by demonstration. And then if they can see and choose, have the courage to choose expansion, get past that fear of judgment, which is a big one. I'm aware that there are some, seeds, if you will, seed and travelers that have gotten a little, crusty and set in their ways because they're on their missions, like we all feel that kind of mission thing going on. And they will bump into one of us on the highway here, a highway of expansion, and they're just like, "Brr, brr, 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 brr. Who are you? And what are you saying? That's not right. It's this way." They've actually gotten set in their ways with the way they've perceived it and framed it. And it's, it's sweet. I can see them. I see that they perceive that they're alone and leave me alone. I have a very important mission, and it's all from their heart. It's all love. It's just that when you're alone for so long, and you know yourself to be extremely different, and you know that you have a very different viewpoint than most people, and you know that you have to protect yourself for so many years from the judgment. It's just what happens. Crotchety. And, to you, to those that I've bumped into, you're not alone. I might not have the same words and phrasing and images and purpose even than you do. God bless you. I'm glad you're here and you're handling that part of it, because I don't want to do that part, right? I'm excited about the part I'm doing. But we're all doing this together. Maybe we don't work together. Maybe we don't even talk when we bump into each other on this expanding path. That's okay. But, a tip of the hat, and blessings sent, and I see you. I see you. That's enough sometimes. Other times, we're meant to bump into each other and we're meant to share some data. And that'll happen, whether we actually talk or not. So my work now, I realize, is in the reorientation. I'm helping people come along on this path of expansion. They've already chosen it. They're walking it. And they're getting a little confused at the beginning, footsteps on this path. And I'm kind of hiking back and saying, oh, okay, I see what's happening here. Yes, I do remember when I tripped here, right? And there are times too where, perhaps I'm not the one who experienced your particular misstep or doubting, though it's rare that I come across that. We usually can, understand empathetically, vibrationally, the tones of what you're experiencing, and we can relate and share the inspiration from our particular misstep from within that bandwidth, that tone of experience. It's all frequency. It's all a dance. And so fascinating times as we begin our journeys in our chosen directions. There's nothing set in stone. We are in a very fluid space now. And the reason why I do the work I do now with the groups is because it's a moment by moment thing. It's experiential. It's fully experiential now, and one needs to have some sense of what healing is and what facing the fear is, and wanting to feel and adapt to love in greater ways and have greater experiences and greater markers within for what this love is and where it's guiding us. It will continue to clear. It will be made more clear to you as you go. And that's just the pure trust. And also seeing others around you demonstrate it and speak of it, because that helps strengthen the one who's being pulled by the contracting side, saying, no, those are crazy people. You need to come with us and be afraid and angry and war with each other. So this is my view on this Sunday dialogue and download. I am here to feel out the path forward. And the only times that it gets scary, especially as we begin on the expanding path, is when we have nothing to compare it to. And if we still have unconscious fear within us, which is probably the case at these beginning footsteps, it's going to get confusing when the light hits that unconscious, dark, shadowy stuff within. But understand that there are people who have walked through this area, and we know what happens. We know how tricky it can feel, and how easy it would be just to run back to your captors with that Stockholm syndrome. Just stay with the captors, because you know that, and you'll get some little treats every once in a while, and it'll be okay as long as you behave and you follow their rules. And you can stay on the path of expansion. Face your fears. And remember who you are as a being of light in human form. And there's so much more for you to expand into, for you to create from, to love from, to celebrate life at this natural level, instead of staying in what you had adapted to in an unnatural environment. That's not who you are. Keep going in the expansion. Keep going, choosing love. In your honesty and innocence, you will be pulled forward. Love others, have compassion for others along the way. There are many, 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 many ways to make this journey, especially in these beginning steps. So have compassion, encourage each other, love each other. Send love to those who are choosing contraction in obvious ways, and just hold that space for them to awaken and make that swim across to the expanding path. It can still happen. Allow people to make their choices now. Just let it go. Let it go. Keep choosing love and walking with love, dialoguing with that love, and you will be guided as to where to be, who to speak with, what to say in any given moment, or to not say anything. Your body will give you these indicators. You'll know. You'll just know. And it would be rare for you at a certain point on this journey that you would actually experience harm. It is only the fear of being harmed that calls you into the experience. So that's why we're letting go of fear. We're transcending fear so that we can recreate, allow, I should say, a reality, an environment that is reflective of growing love, lessening fear. We get to find out what that looks like, what that's like together. You don't get to know ahead of time all the details because it requires you to take those steps, actual steps, before you receive more understanding. You have to be engaged. So I just want to encourage you all. I'm not here to tell anyone what to do. I'm here to just say, you have options. There isn't just this one reality that you thought was real, that you were told was real, that you were conditioned to believe was all there is. It's a very small spectrum of reality, and you can transcend it now. That's my pretty consistent message over time. From learning how to stay engaged and learn and expand and grow, because I listened to those who kept visiting me, trying to reach me, poking through this smaller spectrum reality to say, to shake me awake continuously. I talk about this a lot, so I'm not going to repeat all of that now. Came in a variety of, paranormal ways. I'll just leave it at that. I have gone up and down this path to a certain degree, enough to know I know who we are. I know who human beings are and what we're capable of. You don't have to know anything in this process. Just show up and express what is actual in any given moment on a feeling level. And you'll be willing yourself to engage with your own awakening and transcendence of the smaller spectrum reality. You have this in you, no doubt. So it's up to you to choose what you prefer. And it's as simple as that. My love to you. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.